Welcome to our channel Money Minded Online, the podcast where we explore the best strategies, tools, and stories for making money online. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned hustler, or just curious about how to thrive in the digital economy, you're in the right place. Each week, we bring you actionable insights, inspiring interviews, and proven tactics to help you build wealth online. So sit back, take notes, and get ready to transform your future. Let's dive in.
Okay, so you want to be a millionaire by 2026, huh?
Ambitious.
Yeah, and you're using Rich Dad, Poor Dad as your guide, which...
Smart move.
Right, I mean, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
But sometimes, even with a great book like that, you kind of need help, like, really getting those ideas, you know?
Putting them in practice.
Exactly. Like, how do you actually take those concepts and make them work for you in the real world? That's what this whole deep dive is about.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about that book is that it really challenges how we think about money.
Totally. It's not just about, like, earning a big paycheck, right?
Right. It's more about understanding those systems, like the whole system of money, and figuring out how to make it work for you.
Yeah. And that's where the rich dad versus poor dad thing comes in, right? Yeah. Could you break that down for a listener? Like, what's the core difference there, and why does it even matter?
Well, the poor dad mentality, it's all about job security. You know, working for a paycheck and, like, saving diligently. Which isn't bad, obviously.
Right, responsible.
Exactly. But it doesn't usually lead to, like, serious wealth.
Yeah, you're not going to get rich just by saving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Rich Dad, on the other hand, he's all about building assets.
Oh, okay.
Things that put money in your pocket.
So instead of just working for money...
You're making your money work for you.
Okay, but how do you even, like, make that shift, you know, mentally? I mean, a lot of people get stuck in that poor dad thinking.
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to fear.
Oh, interesting.
Fear of failure, fear of risk.
Yeah.
You know, even the fear of, like, leaving a steady paycheck.
It's comfortable, right?
It is. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
And we're kind of conditioned to seek that out, that security.
Makes sense.
But the book argues that to really build wealth, you have to get comfortable with risk.
So not just avoiding it.
You have to understand it, manage it.
So it's more about, like, reframing your relationship with risk.
Exactly.
Instead of seeing it as, like, this big scary monster.
You learn to kind of dance with it.
I like that.
Yeah.
But how does someone who's maybe been playing it safe their whole life actually start to make that change?
Well, I think the first step is to really examine your beliefs about money.
Okay.
Ask yourself some tough questions, like, why do you work? What are your financial goals, like, way down the line?
Long term.
Yeah. And are your actions actually taking you towards those goals?
You gotta be honest with yourself.
Exactly. And then expose yourself to new ideas.
Beyond just Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah. Read other books, listen to podcasts, talk to people who think differently about money.
Surround yourself with those different perspectives.
Exactly. Could be really eye-opening.
Totally. But even if you, like, shift your mindset, you still need the practical knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
It's hard to build anything if you don't understand the basic language of finance.
You got to learn the ABCs before you can write a novel.
Exactly. So what are some of those must-know financial basics?
The building blocks.
Yeah.
Well, one of the most important things is understanding financial statements.
Oh, yeah, those things.
They can seem intimidating, but they're really just your financial report card.
So like a balance sheet, sadly.
It shows you, like, a snapshot of your assets, liabilities, net worth.
So it's like taking inventory of your financial health.
Exactly. You see the full picture.
Okay, that makes sense. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad also talks about good debt versus bad debt, right?
It does.
Can you explain that?
Sure. So good debt is debt that's used to buy assets that appreciate in value or generate income.
So like a mortgage on a rental property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The property is the asset, and the rent helps you pay off the mortgage while potentially increasing your net worth over time.
So the debt is actually helping you build wealth.
Right. Now, bad debt is debt used to buy things that lose value over time.
Oh, like a new car?
Yeah. Or the latest gadget.
Okay, so it's not just about avoiding debt altogether.
It's about being strategic with it.
Using debt as a tool to build wealth, not drain it.
Exactly.
But how does someone actually start putting all these pieces together?
Well, the book suggests a really helpful budgeting framework.
Okay, I'm listening.
It recommends using 50% of your income for expenses, 30% for savings, and 20% for reinvesting in assets.
So even if you don't have a huge income...
You can still prioritize asset building.
Okay, I like that. And it's not just about saving, right?
Right. It's about putting that money to work for you.
So where should our listeners start? Like, what are some easy ways to start building their financial knowledge today?
Oh, there are so many amazing resources out there now. And a lot of them are free.
Even better.
You can check out personal finance websites and blogs that break down these complex financial concepts into plain English.
Nice.
There are also great online courses, even apps that make learning about budgeting, investing, and all that fun.
It's like gamifying your financial education.
Exactly. And it can make a huge difference.
I love that. So we've talked about shifting your mindset and building that financial foundation. But what I think is so cool about Rich Dad, Poor Dad is that it goes beyond just saving money. It's about creating a system where money works for you. You're not trading your time for money anymore.
Right. You're building something that generates income even when you're not actively working.
And that brings us to one of the most important concepts from the book, assets versus liabilities.
Ah, yes.
Can you break that down for us? Like, what's the difference and why does it matter so much?
Simply put, an asset puts money in your pocket.
Okay.
A liability takes money out.
So like a rental property that brings in monthly income
That's an asset.
versus a brand new car that loses value and costs you money every month.
That's a liability.
So it's not just about what you own.
It's about the financial impact of what you own.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad is all about building a portfolio of assets that generate income, right?
Exactly. The more assets you have,
The more money works for you.
exactly. And that's where the beauty of passive income comes in, right?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. What are some examples from the book of like how to create these passive income streams?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It throws out a bunch of ideas, like the classic one rental income from properties.
Yeah, that's a popular one.
Right. Then there's dividend income from stocks, royalties from like books or music or whatever you create.
Oh yeah, intellectual property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then earnings from online businesses,
Yeah.
you know, the kind that don't need you to be there 24/7.
So like you build it and it kind of runs itself.
Exactly.
That's the dream.
It is. It really is.
Okay, but those are kind of like the well-known ones. What about our listener? You know, they're on this fast track to becoming a millionaire.
Right.
Are there any like passive income opportunities that maybe they're overlooking?
That's a good question. It depends on what they're into, you know, what their skills are.
Like what if they're really good at photography?
Well, they could create an online course teaching photography
Oh yeah.
or write an ebook, sell presets, you know,
So many options.
or if they're crafty, they could open an Etsy shop, sell handmade goods.
It's about finding your niche, right?
Yeah, finding something you're good at that people are willing to pay for.
And then figuring out how to turn that into a passive income stream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about thinking outside that traditional 9-to-5 box.
It's about creating your own opportunities.
Exactly.
Okay, so passive income is key. And it reminds me of another big concept from Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
What's that?
leverage.
Ah, yes. The power of leverage.
Can you explain what that means in terms of building wealth?
So leverage, it's basically about using your resources wisely.
Okay.
Your time, your money, your knowledge, and using them to amplify your efforts.
You're not just working hard.
You're working smart.
I like that. Can you give us some concrete example?
Like how our listener could use leverage.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say they're amazing at creating social media content.
Okay.
They could leverage their time by using scheduling tools.
Ah, so they can like automate their posts?
Exactly. It frees up their time to focus on other things.
Smart.
They could leverage money by investing in advertising.
To reach a wider audience.
Exactly. And they could leverage knowledge
How so?
by taking courses or joining communities to learn from experts in social media marketing.
So they're constantly improving their skills.
Exactly.
And that helps them create even better content.
And reach even more people.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah, it's all about maximizing your impact.
Okay, so leverage is all about maximizing your resources. And speaking of maximizing, Rich Dad, Poor Dad talks a lot about compounding, right?
Oh yeah, compounding is like the secret weapon of wealth building.
Okay, but what is it exactly and why is it so important?
Compounding, it's basically earning interest on your interest.
So it's like your money is making babies and then those babies are making babies.
Exactly. It's money multiplying itself.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal. But can you give us like a real world example?
Okay, so let's say you invest $1,000 today and you get a 7% return.
Okay.
After 1 year, you've made $70 in interest,
Not bad.
right? But here's the cool part. In year 2, you're not just earning interest on that original $1,000.
You're also earning interest on the $70 you made in year 1.
Exactly. So it keeps growing and growing.
Like a snowball rolling downhill.
Exactly. And the longer you let it roll, the bigger it gets.
Okay, so even small investments can grow a lot over time.
As long as you're consistent and patient.
So how can our listener really harness the power of compounding?
Well, choosing the right investments is key. Look for things that have long-term growth potential.
Like what?
Index funds,
Yeah.
real estate, things like that.
Okay.
And reinvest your earnings. Don't cash out those dividends or interest payments.
Let them compound.
Exactly. Let that snowball keep rolling.
Okay, so patience and the right investments are key. But let's be real, building wealth, it involves some risk.
It does.
How can our listener approach risk in a way that's not totally terrifying?
Well, I think the first step is to shift your mindset from fear to understanding.
Okay.
Invest in what you know. If you don't understand how something works, you're more likely to make emotional decisions.
Yeah, fear and greed can really cloud your judgment.
Exactly. So do your research to educate yourself.
Knowledge is power.
You really is.
Okay, so invest in what you understand. What else?
Diversify.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Spread your investments across different asset classes, stocks, bonds, real estate,
So if one investment goes down,
You're not completely wiped out.
it's like a safety net.
Exactly.
Okay, so diversify. But what about managing risk within specific investments?
There are some techniques you can use, like stop-loss orders.
What are those?
It's basically an instruction to automatically sell a stock if it drops below a certain price.
Oh, so it limits your potential losses.
Exactly. And then there's dollar cost averaging.
Okay, I've heard of that.
You invest a fixed amount of money at regular intervals.
No matter what the price is doing.
Exactly. It helps smooth out the ups and downs.
So you're not trying to time the market.
Right, you're just consistently investing.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've talked about managing risk, but with all this info, it can still be overwhelming to actually create a plan.
It can.
And Rich Dad Poor Dad talks a lot about having a 5-year plan.
Yes, a roadmap to your goals.
Okay, so what would that look like for our listener, with their goal of becoming a millionaire by 2026?
Well, let's break it down year by year.
Okay, I love it. Let's start with year 1.
Year 1 is all about building a solid foundation.
Okay.
Focus on financial literacy. Get your personal finances in order. Develop those saving habits.
And start researching investment.
Exactly. Find those potential passive income streams.
Okay, so year 1 is like the prep work.
Exactly. Setting yourself up for success.
What about year 2?
Year 2 is about taking action.
Time to put those plans into motion.
Exactly. Start investing in those income-generating assets.
Buy that rental property, launch that online business.
Whatever it is for you, take that leap.
Okay, so year 2 is go time.
Yep.
What about year 3?
Year 3 is all about optimizing and expanding.
Okay.
Look at what's working, what's not.
Tweak your strategies.
Exactly. And explore new opportunities.
Scale up those existing ventures.
Yep. Keep that momentum going.
I like it. And then years 4 and 5,
That's crunch time.
the final push.
Exactly. Maximize those investments, generate those returns.
Expand that portfolio even more.
Yep. And really leverage your expertise to create multiple streams of passive income.
So by the end of year 5,
You're hitting that millionaire mark.
that's the goal.
Exactly.
Okay, but it's important to set specific goals, right?
Oh, absolutely. Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about SMART goals.
Right. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Exactly. So instead of just saying, I want to be a millionaire,
Yeah.
you say, I will achieve a net worth of $500,000 by the end of year 3 by acquiring 2 rental properties and generating $5,000 per month in passive income from my online businesses.
Okay, that's a lot more powerful.
It gives you a clear target.
Something to aim for.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so SMART goals are key. But the book also talks about sales and negotiation skills.
It does.
And I'm curious, why are those so important? Even if you're not a salesperson.
Well, sales and negotiation, they're really about effective communication, persuasion, creating win-win situations.
So whether you're negotiating a raise, pitching a business idea,
Or even convincing your friend to see the movie you want to see.
it's all about those skills.
Exactly. They're valuable in so many areas of life.
So how can someone who's not a natural salesperson get better at those things?
I think one of the biggest things is to kind of reframe it in your mind.
Okay,
Instead of thinking about selling, think about helping.
I like that.
It's about understanding what the other person needs and then showing them how you can provide value.
So it's more about building a relationship.
Exactly. And finding a solution that works for everyone.
Okay, so it's not just about pushing your product or your idea.
Right. It's about collaboration.
I love that.
Yeah.
Any other practical tips for getting better at sales and negotiation?
Oh, definitely. Active listening is huge.
So really paying attention to what the other person is saying?
Yeah, both their words and their body language.
Oh, that's interesting.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
To make sure you really understand their perspective.
Exactly.
And be willing to compromise.
It's not about winning or losing.
Right. It's about finding that middle ground.
Okay, so listen, understand and compromise. I like it. But there's one last piece of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad puzzle we need to talk about.
Taxes.
Yeah, the book has a pretty unique take on taxes, doesn't it?
It does. It encourages you to see taxes not as a burden,
but as a system you can work with.
Exactly. It's not about evading taxes. It's about understanding the rules.
And using them to your advantage.
Exactly. So it's about being proactive.
Right, taking control instead of just letting things happen.
Okay, so can you give our listeners some real-life examples of what this strategic approach to taxes looks like?
Sure. So one example is using tax advantage retirement accounts.
Like 401ks and IRAs.
Exactly. With those, your investments grow tax deferred.
Meaning?
You don't pay taxes on the earnings until you retire.
Oh, so you're basically delaying taxes.
And that lets your money grow much faster over time.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What other tax strategies does the book talk about?
It also highlights the potential benefits of starting a business.
Oh, interesting.
When you're self-employed, you could deduct a lot of your business expenses.
Which lowers your taxable income.
Exactly.
So it's worth learning about the different business structures.
Yeah, and how to maximize those deductions.
Okay, so taxes are definitely something you want to be smart about.
Absolutely.
But it can be complicated, right?
Oh, for sure.
Probably not something you want to DIY.
Definitely talk to a tax professional.
Get some expert guidance.
Yeah, someone who can help you create a personalized plan.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today.
We have.
From shifting your mindset to understanding financial systems.
Building assets, leveraging your resources.
And you're navigating the world of taxes.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But hopefully it's inspiring too.
I hope so, Rich Dad. Poor Dad. It shows you that financial freedom is possible.
It's not just a pipe dream.
Exactly. But you have to be willing to learn, take action, and manage your money proactively.
Be the boss of your own money.
Love
it. Well, this deep dive, it was just the beginning. There's so much more to explore in the book and beyond.
Keep learning. Keep growing.
So what's one thing our listener can do today to start putting all this into practice?
I would say look at your financial goals.
Okay.
Make sure they're smart, specific measurables, all that. And then find one small step you can take right now to move towards those goals.
It could be setting up a budget.
Yeah. Or reading a book about investment.
Or brainstorming some passive income ideas.
Whatever it is, take that first step.
Just get started.
Exactly. That's the most important thing.
Love it. Well said. Okay, so that wraps up our deep dive on Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
It was fun.
It was. We covered a lot of ground, but remember, the journey to financial freedom,
it starts with a single step.
So take that step, keep learning, and keep growing.
Until next time.
Happy investing, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into our channel Money Minded Online. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Share this episode with friends who are looking to make money online and join the community. Drop a comment below with your favorite tip or takeaway. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep hustling and making moves. See you in the next episode.